Hey everyone, Dr. Healy here from Root Healing Wellness. What I'd like to talk to you about today and give you some information on is what kind of labs do we run that can identify causative factors in a person's health. Why are you sick? And a lot of this information should make sense to you. First of all, with the functional blood test, we look for much more information than your standard of care. Standard of care CBC might be 35 numbers. Our basic test might be like 86 numbers, so about 50 more. Very importantly, we look for factors like inflammation. Inflammation can be a root cause of disease. Are your sex hormones are off? That could be a cause of not having resiliency, which leads to disease. Has stress affected things like your cortisol, which can be a cause of disease? Are you having issues with your gut, your liver? Also, are you having issues with inflammation or nutrition? All of this plus much, much more is looked at in the blood, and most of this should make sense to you. For example, something as simple as nutrition. We can all acknowledge that nutrition is very important for our health, but when you go to the doctor, they really look for just one thing, vitamin D, as if that's the only thing that the body needs, when we all know that that's not true. So we will sometimes offer things like blood work that look at root causes. Also, there can be things like a stool test. Stool tests are very interesting for identifying gut-based issues. For example, are you missing good bacteria? You don't know. You just assume you have it, but you don't know. Do you have bad bacteria? Yeast, candida, parasites, leaky gut, gastrointestinal inflammation? All of that can be checked, but it has to be checked through stool. Saliva tests, we check for additional factors like H. pylori and other things, but we want to do a deeper dive into hormones. When you give a blood test for hormones, that's one point of time. Saliva test tests you 3 times a day over a few days. They average it, much more precise. We can also do things like chart and graph your cortisol and tell you the best time of day to do exercise or relaxation based on cortisol. Help you with lifestyle improvements so you can get health independence. Another common test that we will run is a food intolerance test. It's very common that people are eating things that are bothering them and they just have no idea. There are more advanced tests depending upon the patient's condition, for example, heavy metal tests, tests for mold, etc. But what I'm trying to do is give you a clue on some of the testing that can be done, because what we're trying to do is find out what is the root cause of what is bothering you. I hope you learned something from this today. Thank you very much.